up in LA. That's kind of where I got into my addiction, in and out of the county system, paying restitution and fines and probation and the whole gamut. And, at the age of 33, I had 3 cases over my head. I never in my life considered, stopping what I was doing because I enjoy getting high. I enjoy the effects of drinking. I am a drinker. I am a drug addict. I drink because I like it.
For me, my addiction was it didn't fit the stigma of what society says addiction looks like. I was a functional alcoholic, although I laugh at that term today. I maintained my employment. I maintained my marriage. I maintained my home. I never lost custody of my children. I never had any DUIs or legal problems from my alcoholism. However, what I did have was a loss of my soul.
What's been your pathway to recovery?
It started with prison. It wasn't until my brother died and my choice really became a life or death thing because he died from alcoholism.
I actually tried recovery several times throughout my life, and my pathway that stuck was actually the stereotypical one you hear that doesn't work of the judicial system. The judge threw the book at me with everything but prison. Gave me a long extended period of house arrest. I had to have an alcohol monitor I walked around with all day long. I had to blow into it every time they told me to, and during that journey I was still, kind of court ordered to go to the treatment center, and I met actually a peer recovery coach there. And it was the first time ever in my life that someone asked me what I wanted to do in my recovery. He treated me like a peer. It was the first time throughout any recovery where someone hadn't talked down to me or told me what I needed to do. He asked me what I wanted to do. And from that point, just little by little, I kind of opened up my shell, so to speak, and actually kind of started paying attention to, hey, what is this recovery?
Why did you get involved in peer coaching?
I took a part-time job at a treatment facility here in town as merely a tech. So I would be working with people who were in treatment just out of detox in a 14-day intensive inpatient program. I found myself feeling that I was helping by sharing my experience with good and bad, and identifying with the clients there at the facility. I was able to see myself in them, and that was it was huge for me. And I think in my recovery, it helped me a lot because I got to see myself in the very, very early stages of recovery, and I got to share very vulnerably with my clients. And if one person can get helped by something that I say or something that I do, that's the ultimate goal for me. So that's when I first got my first experience with being a peer. And the bug just kind of bit me from there. Because recovery coaching is not about how I got clean. It's not about my path. Recovery coaching is supporting that recovery in whatever way they need.
Could you maybe reflect on the peer recovery movement in particular, and what you see are some of the unique opportunities that brings to the table and how it's changing the landscape around recovery?
Well, let me start off by looking at it historically. Historically, in the United States, we have treated addiction on an acute care model, which means that we bring people in and kind of detox them, put them through a period of stabilization and education. And then when we would get to the recovery component, we would send them off to 12-step groups and sever the service relationship. Now, we don't do that with other chronic medical diseases like cancer or diabetes or heart disease. Recovery is a full partner of that continuum. And while 12-step groups, and I do 7 12-step meetings a week, at 13 years into recovery today. So I'm a fan. But the bottom line is that the national statistics are that only 17 to 20% of people who go to 12-step groups stay. That means that 80% of those folks who struggle with addiction recycle back through the approach today has been to begin to flesh out that model in a more comprehensive way. And the Indiana Addictions Issues Coalition, which is the organization that I oversee here in the state of Indiana, received several years ago a federal grant to actually train people in a new paraprofessional called a recovery coach. It is a evidence-based curriculum, recovery coaching, that is based on motivational interviewing and other types of counseling techniques. But the key component is that the people who we selected to go through these trainings all had to be people in recovery. And so we put them through this kind of counseling curriculum called recovery coaching. We have also here in the state of Indiana established a certification path. Over the past 2 years, we've trained 180 so far in the state of Indiana. We have about 30 to this point that have actually gone through the full certification and are starting to be employed in treatment centers across the state of Indiana. And I think that I'm hopeful that we can begin, for at least for the state of Indiana, this will begin to kind of turn the tide.
And what, if you had to leave something with people about recovery, kind of.
That we can and do recover. I mean, plain and simple. It's
Recovery will be beyond your wildest dreams.
Give yourself a chance to do something different. Take that opportunity, because who knows if we'll ever get it again.